trips, and the May financial report. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It has been moved by Caroline and seconded by Mark. Any discussion? I would just add that I know when people hear the word change order, they get a little worried. I wanted to remind everyone that there's no the Klosh Group change order does not impact our schedule or the existing, and they have existing contingency funds, so we're not actually spending new district money. All right, so all in favor of adopting the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Bright spots. Corey, take it away.
Excellent. Yep. Okay. I'd love to have Nancy Navarro and Myra Cortez join me up here at the podium, since we are here to honor and recognize these two amazing individuals. Excellent. Thank you. You guys were the okay, perfect. I love it. So I like it. Okay. So Nancy, on behalf of Washington State Title I Part C Migrant Education Program, I'm delighted to inform you that you have been selected as a recipient of the 2026 Migrant Education Program Coordinator of the Year. This recognition honors your outstanding leadership, dedication, and commitment to serving Washington's migratory students and families. Yes. Myra, on behalf of Washington State Title I Part C Migrant Education Program, I'm delighted to inform you that you have been selected. They do know this. They do. Okay. That I'm delighted to inform you that you have been selected as a recipient of the inaugural, this is the first one, 2026 Migrant Education Program Out of School Youth Advocate of the Year Award. Congratulations. As a new award introduced this year, it recognizes individuals who demonstrate exceptional leadership, dedication, and advocacy and support in supporting migratory out of school youth by connecting them with educational, career, health, and community resources to help them achieve their goals. So I'm very excited about that. I have some more items to read, but I want to give you the goods right there. So that's your certificate. That is your certificate. Again, I appreciate that. Yes, and let's clap for him. Love it. And as part of this recognition, this is the super cool part. You will also be presented with a commemorative plaque during the 2026 Washington State Migrant Education Program Conference, which I understand is Thursday. Is that right? Like literally 2 days from now. Okay, that's awesome. The OSP Migrant Education Program team, the school board of directors, the Wenatchee School District, and I are honored to help celebrate these accomplishments and the meaningful impact you continue to make. Your dedication and service are truly appreciated, and your work serves as an inspiration to colleagues throughout Washington's migrant education community. 2 different honors, 2 different awards, but both share the work to support our underrepresented students in our district and give us hope for the future. This work is important, it is timely, and it provides much needed resources and opportunities for us to support our students and the promise statement in our strategic plan behind us. Each month we will, and that's it. That's good. Let's give them another round of applause. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yes. Oh yeah. Ooh, this is fun. Thank you, family, for coming.
Do I need to speak into this thing? Okay, here we go. I will not be presenting on the budget tonight. While she's getting that up, I'm not doing most of the talking tonight, which is unusual for this partnership. However, very unusual, yes, but Mrs. Oaks has been the one that really has led the work this year at Lincoln around this. So I'll just give a little bit of context and I'll let her take over. As we came up at Lincoln Elementary, obviously everybody knows what happened at the end of the previous school year. And so as we were coming up on the 1-year anniversary, we were trying to figure out a way to honor the Decker girls' memory while not, grandstanding or making it too big or outlandish. So we actually just solicited a group of educators and maybe parents at our school that would be interested in volunteering for a committee about how we go about this. Because Lydia and I, this is all unprecedented and we don't know if we're doing a good job. We're doing the best we can. So we got together a whole group of people and this is basically the outcome of a lot of hard work. And Lydia is the one that basically led that work. And so I'll let her explain more.
Gonna make sure my talking points hold up because, as he said, he's normally the talker for us. So we knew this was going to be difficult, and so we started having the conversations in like February. We brought this up to our staff at a staff meeting in February and just kind of said, hey, we want to do a good job with whatever we do. We're not sure what that should look like. We're going to need your help. And if anyone's interested, here's a Google form. Like, you don't have to say you're interested right now, but by the end of the week, will you submit this back to me so I can get you some more information and we can come up with a plan together. We ended up having about 15 people who were interested in participating in the committee, certs and classified staff. Everyone was pretty passionate about it, as you can imagine. So originally we just met to get some dates on the calendar of when can we get this huge group of people together. Calendaring that out takes a lot of coordination. So we were able to find 4 dates between March and the end of May that worked for most of the crew. So we got those 4 dates on the calendar and ended up meeting 4 times to just come up with a plan for how we wanted to honor the girls and what that would look like at our school. We came up with some plans that we were like, that's not what we want to do. As we were developing ideas, we would bring them back to staff meetings and share out to get input from our whole staff. And ultimately, we came to the conclusion that we wanted to do a week focused on kindness because anytime any of us thought about the girls, that was the one quality that really stood out about all 3 of them. And we thought maybe we should have a kindness day, but that felt too small. So we made it into a kindness week. So our plan was to start, our teachers would pre-teach the week before an SEL lesson on what acts of kindness were. And our counselors put together a menu of options, resources really, stories, videos, activities. We had 2 menus, one for K2 and one for 3-5 that our staff was able to pull from. Our teachers pre-taught a lesson the week before, leading into Kindness Week, and then for Kindness Week, they utilized SEL time in the morning to have students share out what acts of kindness they had done during the day or at home or maybe at soccer practice the night before, and really honed in and focused on kindness and acts of kindness that we could do for one another throughout our community. we ordered a large banner, a very large banner, like 10 or 12 by 4 feet, and hung it up in the hallway with 3 blank hearts. And our school-wide goal was to fill up those hearts by the end of the week. Each act of kindness was, each student was given a Post-it note that was shaped like a heart in the 3 colors. And when a student would get a Post-it, they would go and place it on one of the 3 hearts. So our goal was to fill the 3 hearts by the end of the week. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. During art the week before, our art teacher was brave enough to paint kindness rocks with our 3rd through 5th grade classes. So we have about 250 rocks that have been painted by our students that were then during Kindness Week placed around our campus. So as we continue this tradition moving forward, we will continue to grow that number, which is pretty cool to be able to walk around campus and find those painted rocks that our students have made. Our most popular activity throughout the week was we partnered our older kids with our younger kids to make friendship bracelets. And the way we partnered them was we had our kinder and 5th grade classes work together, our 1st and 3rd grade classes work together, and our 2nd and 4th grade classes work together. We chose that pairing because those students had gone to recess and lunch together throughout the year, so there were already some relationships in place there. And kinder had 45 minutes, but the other grades had 30 minutes to work on friendship bracelets before they headed out to recess and lunch together. And that was just a really cool time to have our building like crossing and see the older kids working with the younger kids and teachers commingling during the school day. That was by far the most popular activity and something that was very enjoyed by everyone. So next year, we plan to add an additional activity that pairs our older students with our younger students. And Parsons came and did a photograph for our whole school. We had the district painters come and paint 3 hearts out on our field. So we got our whole building, all students and staff, out to the field to line the 3 hearts. And then Parsons did a drone photograph for us. So we were able to get that, and our plan is to have that done annually as well and line those in the hallway. So we're able to add one of those each year. So we just wanted to find a way to honor the girls, carry on their legacy in a positive way, not a way that was sad for our staff and our students, but a way that's really celebrated them. So this is what we came up with. This is, our school managed to do 785 acts of kindness throughout the week, which was wild. Our goal was to fill the 3 hearts, as I mentioned, and by the end of Tuesday, most of the hearts were filled. People were worried about what are we going to do for the rest of the week. So they just got more and more solid as the week continued and thicker as the week continued. But we're very proud of our staff and students for how they handled everything and celebrating the legacy of the girls in such a positive way. So here is a picture of what our banner looks like at the end of the week. It's pretty amazing. And then we just today, we received the photo from Parsons back. So here's what that turned out like.
Great. It's kind of, I was wondering if you're trying to wrangle them all. Great. I think one change we might make next year, we did it this way.
Bravo, you two. Thank you so, wow, that was really loud. I want to apologize. Bravo, you two. Thank you for coming up with such a thoughtful way to honor the legacy of the girls in the family. That was really cool. So thanks for sharing. Appreciate that. Our first school highlight of the 26-27 school year. So I'm
Yeah.
excited about that. That'll be great.
So I was probably excited to get that out of the way.
He signed up real quick.
Like, I got mine. All right. So we have done bright spots. Kim, any citizen comments? Okay. So that means we go to the board budget hearing. The district has completed the 26-27 budget and four-year projection and published a notice of this budget hearing in accordance with RCW 28A 505050. The budget is on file at the district administrative office, and a copy is available to anyone requesting one. It is also available online on the district website. The board of directors has set August 25th, 2026 as the date for adopting the 26-27 budget. Any person may appear at this public hearing and be heard for or against any part of the budget. Sean Fitzgerald, Executive Director of Business and Finance, will provide a brief overview of the 26-27 budget. Then the budget hearing will be open for public comment. Sean presents in my notes.
Thank you, President Jackson, members of the board, Dr. Callahar. It's great to be here tonight to present the third and final presentation on our 2026-27 budget. So in June, I did two presentations, just our preliminary budget. And now we've had a chance to submit it to the ESD. They've had a chance to review it, provide feedback, and we've made adjustments based on their feedback. So what we see here, barring any comments from the public or the board tonight, we will move forward with these numbers for adoption at our August 25th board meeting. So just recap, district fund structure. As you can see, we operate on a fund basis. We have 5 funds, with the general fund making up the largest fund. Historically, it's operated between 85 and 90%. This year is coming in around 87%, followed by capital projects, debt service, ASB, and then rounding it out at the end is transportation. So we'll start with the Capital Projects Fund. So as you're all aware, the purpose and background, Capital Projects Fund is used for the acquisition or construction of major capital facilities and is generally financed through the sale of bonds, state matching revenues, special levies, or in this case, we've been operating with state grants, making up the bulk of our activity for rounding out the 25-26 school year and then going into the 26-27 school year. So not a lot of changes from June. I think the biggest change is just discussing cash flow, which we will get to later tonight with the board resolution, which is just kind of changing the other financing uses and the financing sources. But essentially here, primarily for our 26-27 budget, we will be operating the main event, so to speak, for 26-27 capital projects is the finishing of the Skill Center renovation. And so roughly budgeted about $8 million or so of that 12.1. The remainder of that 12 million, there's kind of built in $4 million of capacity. Again, kind of a large amount just to account for any sort of timing difference that may happen with the Skill Center. Things can happen like, hey, we're making progress here at year end, but then it's like, oh, maybe things slow down. So we just want to ensure we have enough capacity in the budget, so we're not coming back and doing sort of a budget revision. But it's just kind of having a healthy capacity, just, better safe than sorry. But overall, after 26-27, we anticipate Skill Center renovation will be completed on time, sometime December or in the early 2027 portion of the school year. And then as we go through 27, 28 and beyond, we can see we're just operating, we're not anticipating any sort of state grant revenue, and basically kind of operating on general fund transfers, $500,000 for any sort of emergency or preventative maintenance. And then local support non-tax would just be kind of the interest income we receive on the fund balance accounts sitting in our treasury accounts. Of course, when the bond passes, this will look very different. We'll see a lot of construction activity, a lot more funding coming through in our budget and future forecasts. But right now, this is what it looks like without that. Any questions on capital projects?
That 1.8 million that's going out in 26, 27, that's just the transfer back to the general fund.
Correct. So yeah, anything we're using for cash flow purposes, we're going to see on that line item, and it's going to go back to the general fund. Debt service fund. So again, paying off the principal and interest on our one outstanding bond, which we refinanced in 2024, saving taxpayers $6.6 million over the remainder of the bond term. So our one outstanding bond that's for Washington and Castle Rock will be fully paid off in 2033. Yep. And then we'll just kind of move on and see that activity here. So we're just following the principal and interest schedule that's been designed by Piper Sandler. And then we just work with them to ensure that we're levying a sufficient amount to ensure we're paying off the principal and interest each year. And then kind of maintaining a healthy fund balance that can be also used for any future bonds as well. We did go through the arbitrage process this summer. So essentially, an outside compliance specialist come in and just review our debt service, ensure that we're not holding too much money in our fund balance. We're not levying too much because there's IRS tax rules we need to comply with. And we've been given the green light, so we're all good there. ASB. Again, purpose of the ASB. We follow the CARS acronym, cultural, social, recreational, or athletic activities that are optional, non-credit, and extracurricular. Again, primary financing is fees, fines, and donations. And again, the funds are legally restricted. So what happens in ASB stays in ASB. So again, here, again, looking at our budget and forecast, again, we kind of mirror each year because each year we have a rotating student council. We have new students coming in and out. So each year, students from a different class have input into what the future budget looks like. That being said, you can see, again, the year-end 25-26 projection compared to the 26-27 budget, we go from about 964 to about 1.5. Couple of things in there. One, we have about $250,000 capacity built into the budget, but also just steps we've taken, working with feedback from the state auditor's office, and also BJ coming in and doing a great job of working with all of the ASB groups. It's kind of like really mapping out activities and fundraisers at the beginning of the year and ensuring they're already in the budget. So it's like activity may be occurring, throughout the school year, but we got recommendations from the auditor's office. Hey, build those into your budget, make sure they're kind of being reflected in here. So that's why we kind of see that big change between 25-26 and 26-27. Whether we reach those amounts, that's a different thing because things happen during the year, but it's just ensuring that those discussions are happening at the budget level with the student councils and before the school year starts. Any questions on ASB? All right. Of course, Transportation Vehicle Fund. We use this to purchase our yellow school buses. We get our state bus depreciation reimbursement at the end of the school year, which is our primary funding source for buses, but it can also be transportation levies, debt. You can also get transfers from the general fund. We also accrue interest just for fund balance. Again, fund balance are reserves, and then maybe surplus sales from older buses. And then again, expenditures are recorded when buses are delivered, not when ordered. As we discussed in June, it's like probably the most change we've seen in this fund in a long time due to legislative sessions. So during the 2026 legislative session, they cut about $21 million statewide. So we saw the impact just for 25-26 school year, essentially a $37,000 loss in revenue. than what we were anticipating. Difference now, again, investment interest less than expected, depreciation reimbursement less than expected due to legislative changes. We did a transfer in about $150,000 to ensure cash flow management. And so next week, we'll get our depreciation reimbursement for the school year. And then once that gets recorded, we'll transfer the $150,000 back into the general fund. We did have some savings on the expenditure side just because buses came in less than quoted prices. And then again, touching on the cash flow management in the last bullet point. So made some changes to what we had in June just to kind of reflect a more kind of conservative forecast. So this is kind of what our budget and forecasting would look like if we don't do transfers from the general fund. And now we have updated numbers from the state, which we didn't have in June. So we can actually have some better projected numbers on the depreciation reimbursement line. And so we're kind of looking here, it's like for 26, 27, we would still maintain our plan of doing a transfer of $150,000, again, just for cash flow purposes. And that would allow us to purchase 2 general ed buses for the 26, 27 school year. But then once we're kind of taking into account the changes the state has made, it's like, okay, what does our forecast look like if we don't do transfers? What would our fund look like? And so basically, without doing any transfers, we're essentially operating under purchasing kind of 1 general ed bus each year. And to do that would be, and allow us to build up our fund balance over several years to make this fund self-sufficient. And then our discussions with Jen C, our transportation director, it's kind of like, okay, this is kind of the most conservative approach, but we're probably going to, look for some sort of middle ground over the next couple of years, maybe a combination of, hey, 1 year we don't do transfers, or we just do 1 bus purchase 1 year and then 2 buses and 1. Again, it's just kind of measuring our depreciation cycle, the needs of the school district. But here, this kind of gives this would be the most conservative approach to the board.
So does Jen feel like that would be sustainable, 1 bus a year? Or is she kind of like, this is the most conservative and I have hesitations about it?
Yeah, I would say this is the conservative approach, and this is probably not going to be, this forecast is going to adjust. We're probably going to find some sort of middle ground between, hey, we're going to do 1 bus purchase 1 year, then we'll do a transfer from the general fund to do 2 buses, vice versa. So, yeah. So again, just kind of laying out, again, looking at that uncertainty from the depreciation reimbursement. And so based on, getting this actual updated numbers, kind of the updated forecast, essentially you're depending on how many buses or when you're buying the buses, you're looking at $300,000 to $360,000 less in revenue over 4 years. And that's essentially a little over 1 bus, maybe 1.5 buses right there in lost revenue. So it does have a long-term impact for the district. Again, just reiterating our cash flow strategy, again, transferring us from general fund, maybe just buying 1, bus to build up reserves, and then kind of finding that balance over the next, few years. And then again, we're going to purchase 2 buses next year, probably, maybe it's going to be 1 year bus purchase the following year. And then also we're continuing to monitor special education needs because they use a different type of bus as well.
All right. I hate that I'm asking this, but as we look at our enrollment decline, are we looking at having to downsize or being able to downsize our fleet, or are we kind of, the routes are the routes and it's just how many people are on the bus?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it. It's a combination of how many people are on the bus, but also it's just our route schedule as well, and the school schedule as well as too, all have an impact in it. All right. Moving on to general fund and enrollment. So again, last year at this time, we were able to get some updated birth rates. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten updated kindergarten birth rates, so we couldn't, go ahead and plug in a 2030-31 forecast. So we're, no changes here. So essentially, we're just monitoring, based on current projections and the birth rates, just preparing for continued enrollment decline. And we see the sub, 500 classes disappearing over several years until 28, 29. Expectation is that we could have sub 500 classes across the board. We did see that increase in birth rates that we're hoping can be sustainable in the 29-30 forecast. But again, we pay close attention to that. And then the big thing too is that what isn't factored in here is just the impact and the continued expansion of Valley Academy. And also, the impact of accelerated pathways at the high school. And then also we're seeing interest in ALE courses at Westside as well. So a lot of those things, we see this projection, we want to see, okay, how are, our numbers going to turn out come September and October, and how the impact of Valley in our high schools may help mitigate these trends. So again, the biggest issue is, transition to kindergarten. We have the state budget cuts. So our enrollment cap was reduced from 59 to 43. Elementary, again, we're seeing those graduating classes are larger than our projected kindergarten classes, but we do see a potential increase in the 2029-30 school year. Another thing we're paying close attention to is the capture rates as well. We've been holding steady this year and the year before at 76%. So we'll see if that continues. Then again, impact of charter and private school offerings at the middle school level. We've seen that consistent pattern over the last few years of decreasing enrollment. But also we have the flip side. Once we get to the high school, we're seeing a lot of the students from the charter and private schools coming in at the high school level. We're also seeing positive inroads with the accelerated pathways versus our running start enrollment. And we're kind of eager to see the continuing impact for the next school year there as well. And then as discussed, we're seeing increasing demand both for our alternative education programs. So expectations, hoping increasing enrollment both at Valley Academy and Westside High School. All right. General fund. So no really significant changes aside from just kind of changing the transfer amounts. Again, 2025-26 year, and yeah, we're seeing a $3 million deficit, change in fund balance. But again, when you look at the numbers, 2.75 is a transfer out, which will most, if not all, will return to the general fund in the 26-27 school year. And then we can see there, when we get to 26-27, anticipating once, we have those transfers back in, and have an increase in the fund balance. And then we kind of have a steady decrease in 27-28 before it starts increasing again in 28-29 and 29-30. And that's due to passing, the anticipation of going out for a new four-year EP&O levy, taking advantage of the increased assessed values and the increased revenues we will see from that new levy. Primary reasons for decrease in revenues, especially from 26-27 to 27-28. One, we have declining enrollment. Of course, that's a big factor, but also the loss of our local effort assistance funding. We do anticipate just kind of those funds to be exhausted by the 28-29 school year. And again, that funding formula, increased assessed value, decreasing enrollment. So not unexpected, but unfortunately, because the state isn't funding the LEA as we would hope they would, we're just anticipating a loss of revenue there. Again, here, next slide is just removing the $6 million in capacity. So generally, this is kind of where we just build in that capacity again to avoid any sort of, to capture any sort of unexpected expenditures that may occur during the school year or revenues that we may receive from grants, for example. And that allows us to utilize those resources without going back to the board and doing a budget revision. So these numbers are, more closely aligned with what we kind of see with the 25-26 year end. But again, no impact on fund balance, but you can see there without capacity, the trends are the same. So again, assumptions and methodology, continued enrollment decline projected, but we're paying close attention to Valley Academy and our high schools. That may help, again, mitigate the enrollment decline. Federal funding uncertainty. So even though we're not facing the same issues as we were last year, where, up to a point we were still waiting the whole month of July, whether we were actually going to get money for the school year, we should have finalized numbers in the next week or two about our federal funding for this year. We haven't heard anything negative like we were hearing last year. But again, it's always kind of an ongoing concern from a year to year, just to see what kind of funding we're going to receive from the federal government. Another area of concern paying attention to, again, is the state legislature. So again, they're projecting another significant budget deficit. And we're also going into a long session. So we're not going to be able to know the final impacts of the budget on the 27-28 school year until the end of April or early May. So we kind of see how things shake out there as well. Again, local effort assistance. This has been a nice source of revenue we've received year over year, but has declined year over year just due to the increased assessed value in the school district area, enrollment decline, and then unfortunately legislative changes. So last Tuesday, 2025 legislative session, the state said, hey, we haven't been funding LEA correctly. We haven't adjusted for inflation. So we're going to adjust for inflation. So everyone got increased funding. But they only promised it for 2 years. And then they said, hey, we'll come back next year and revisit this to see if we'll extend this inflation adjustment. Well, they came back in 2026 and said, hey, we got a big budget deficit, so we're not going to extend it. So they kind of reverted back to the pre-inflation formula. And so the combination of what we're already experiencing decline, plus the legislative changes, has resulted in less LEA revenue. And then based on trends, we could be exhausted by the 2028-29 school year. Again, also built in the budget are budget reductions, so annual alignment of staffing to enrollment. We've also factored in inflationary factors based on IPD. And then again, we always budget for 100% staffing. And then even if we don't, that just kind of results in a savings and goes to the fund balance and less reductions overall for a school year. Again, maximizing K-3 class size compliance is a big priority for us. And then also just budget capacity of $6 million is built in. All right, any questions on the general fund? All right, budget timeline, we're here on August 11th. And so we're all set for August 25th and well in due time to meet the August 31st deadline to submit to OSBI. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
All right. So any last questions for Sean before he walks away? Before he's all the way back? No, we're good. Made you walk for nothing. Sorry, Sean. All right. The 26-27 budget hearing is now open for public comment. If Kim, do we have anyone? Okay. Then thank you, everyone. No, you don't need to respond to anything. All right, the budget hearing is now closed, and we'll move on to discussion. So we got policy first reads.
Yes, policy first reads, we have one policy, 3520, encouraging student fees, fines, or changes. This policy revision updates the procedure for disputing a student fine or fee. The previous appeal process, which mirrored the procedure for a short-term suspension, has been replaced. Appeals now require a direct conference between the parent or student and the building principal. So just de-escalates the severity of that conversation. And so as a policy team, we didn't have a ton of conversation on that, if I remember correctly, but feel free to share, Maria or Mark. All right, we were moving that one forward. Other thoughts or comments?
No, good.
Okay. The other piece was our governance document. And as you all remember, this document kind of grew out of conversations from the board in our May 26th meeting as we worked through the WASDA self-reflection process. The goal of the conversation was to update our language on our norms and operating principles, which emerged from the board during what significantly more challenging time. And this particular iteration came from Mark working to update some redundant language and making the document seem more relevant, updated, and concise. And I thought he did a good job. And we had some discussion at our policy committee meeting as well. And yeah, love to hear what folks have to say.
I really like that you guys put the focus on students at the top. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, we're here about success. Uh-oh, what happened? What's going on, guys?
Sidebar.
Oh, no, I was like more like that shouldn't be struck out. What? There's not an issue. Oh, okay. I wasn't going to change anything. I just thought you guys did a good job, but I'm excited to hear.
We were just talking
Our
about
policy committee sitting together over
I know,
there.
right?
Yeah.
We were like, under the respecting established roles, I was just commenting on the use of the word micromanaging versus something that would seem more board appropriate, and I wasn't sure. So I was asking for ideas.
I mean, I think we all know what we mean by micromanaging.
Respect the professional expertise of the district staff and operates within the board's governance domain.
Especially because it's down below as well in the we will nots.
I mean, because we don't really manage district operations anyway, so we shouldn't be micro.
Yeah, I agree.
Duly noted, Kim.
So striking rather than micromanaging district operations under the respect established roles.
Well done, policy committee. Appreciate that. We can get that tightened up and we can have that update amended before second read on the 25th.
Yeah, is there anything else, Carolyn? Or,
So is this replacing the norms? This is now,
yeah,
okay, so
they're
this
compliant.
is, okay, so this is one, it will replace this. Yeah, no, this makes it's presented in a lot more open of a manner. I like this work. You guys did a good job.
I think it leaves a little flexibility. You know, we're all do board a little differently, and I think it's important to give all of us that kind of freedom to approach the role within some guardrails. So I think it does a good job of leaving that open, but also really being clear about our domain does end. So I like it. All right, so we're good.
We're good. We'll move those on with the amended versions. We'll move on to second read at the next board meeting, August 25th.
Cool. All right, so next we have actions. First is resolution number 0526. Do I have a motion to approve lot line adjustment resolution number 0526?
I will move to, that we approve the resolution number 05.26.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Maria and seconded by Carolyn. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of adopting the resolution as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, resolution number 626. Do I have a motion to approve the transfer of funds resolution number 0626?
I move to approve resolution 0626 as presented.
I will second.
All right, has been moved by Carolyn and seconded by Maria. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of adopting the resolution as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, so that takes us to the superintendent report.
All right, moving right along. Just want to take a moment. I think that it's important that we recognize the impact of wildfires throughout the state and just share that the families and communities impacted are in our thoughts and prayers. Just wanted to share that. The other thing that I want to share here as we start the superintendent's report is we have an addition on our cabinet team. We have Melissa Summers who's joined us here. She's our new executive assistant to replace Kim when she retires. And right now they're working in conjunction and learning all the things. So we welcome you, Melissa. Thanks for joining us. All right, just a few recaps. Today was day 3 of our administrative advance. We had one day on June 23rd, one day last Tuesday on August 4th, and we just have an incredible leadership team who collectively help run and operate this school district and lead our team to excellence. So it was super fun. Today was no different. Also, we have a board workshop coming up on the 17th on Monday, where we'll spend some time working on board goals and board bond engagement planning. Then the next day is opening day, where we're excited about welcoming all of our staff back on opening day. We'll be at the Wenatchee High School. We'll be in the Commons and New Commons and Auditorium from 7:30 to 9:30. Board, please join us as we kick off the school year and the official kickoff to our bond campaign. And obviously we're most excited for the first day of school to come up on August 26th. We're excited to see our students and our friends come back. This will be an amazing school year, and it'll be directly after our next board meeting. So we'll get to talk about that soon. So that's all I've got for you right now, and we can move on to board report.
All right. Carolyn, you want to start us off with holding down that side of the table?
Yeah, I got my bag. I got everything spread out. I'm taking use of the space with Julie gone. A couple things. The first, HY, that's for my other job. OSPI, and some other partners are working on building a framework for student behavioral health to be implemented across the state. That's going to be statewide training and technical assistance for K-12 schools to support broadside and bigger behavioral health with partners and communities. So they're working on that and are in phase 2. So they need a little bit more feedback. So if you are a parent or a youth in the community and want to help kind of guide this new policy going forward, go ahead and visit OSPI for that one. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty great collaboration between communities and getting some more services into our schools. So that's always good. My fun book. WASDA coming up. We have the General Assembly and we are voting on about 90 different things. A lot of their changes are just redacting or getting rid of policies that they think are no longer needed or WASDA beliefs that don't need to be in their handbook. But there are some that will directly impact us with how they vote in legislature and how they initiate policies for the state. So I would recommend going through this if you don't have the time to go through every single slide that I've spent the last 2 weeks doing. If any of them catch your eye and you want to know more, you can email me, but I will be needing to sit down with you two and go over how you want me to vote on some of these for our general election. So if you have big opinions, let me know so that we can vote how our district wants to. And then third and final, sorry, I do believe parents should be getting back to school emails and what's the little
Newsletter?
yeah, what's the app called? Parent Square, thank you. There's too many now. Parent Squares, my sister-in-law got hers from Washington the other day and she was literally telling me that she was getting worried because she hadn't gotten it yet. And then an hour later, she was like, oh, I got it. Just talking about it to a school board member fixed it. And I was like, yep, I did that. No. So be on the lookout for those and be checking your Parent Square for your class lists and items for your kiddos.
Right. I was gonna say that in the past, we have done like a spreadsheet of rank your top 5. So for, if we want to just do where your priorities are.
Well, they change every year. Yes, I was the one that I think, WASTA has usually they'll send it to us, or probably you and
Yeah,
Kim.
they gave me a big spreadsheet that has like each of the proposals and then like how we would vote. But I didn't know if everybody wanted to look at that.
If you want to send that or have, and then each of us will choose our top 10
Okay.
and send them to you, and
Okay.
then at your discretion.
Perfect. Okay, I will send that out to you.
We won't vote for the entire organization like someone might have done in their first year. So we're gonna send it to you, not to OSP or not to WASDA. All right, Mark.
I got nothing. Who could top that?
No one.
Nothing.
Julie didn't show up. She's afraid.
Welcome back, everyone. We're excited to get going again.
All right, Maria.
Just a couple things. Back in July or June, I can't remember, I attended the auditor's exit meeting. And just big kudos to Karen Walters and Sean's team. Like always, they did an amazing job this last year, as previous years, making sure that we're in compliance with the checkoff list they provide every year. Speaking of welcome back, I got my newsletter today through Parent Square, and I just want to say good job to communications team Diana on just all the communication that's gone out this summer. Just good things, bond information, and this newsletter. I know as a parent, sometimes this information comes out a lot later, like a week before school starts. So to see this out by schools also, well in advance, at least 2 weeks before school starts is welcoming. And there's a lot of good stuff happening at the OSPI level. I sent Corey an article earlier this summer about OSPI looking to require a life skills class as a graduation requirement, how to write a check, basics knowledge that I think we all grew up with that is kind of become a lost art. So I know the high school and the middle schools have some component of life skills classes. So again, we're a little bit ahead of the game. I think all are aware of the proposed legislation of banning cell phones in schools. And again, that's one of the things we can say, oh yeah, we've been doing that for a couple of years. So yeah, pat yourself in the back. So that's all I got.
All right. First, I want to say that Julie wanted to be here. Her flight was delayed, so I didn't mean to throw shade on Julie. She wished she would have preferred to be here. Yeah, you guys said lots of good things. I was just going to say, I think I speak for all parents that it's time for those kids to go back. So, welcome back to the school board, and meeting adjourned.